day, everyone. My name is Sarah Westhead, and today we are having Scrapbooking 101. I'm going to be showing you how to make an adorable little mini journal so that you can write your own story in it, or even put your own pictures and keep memories of your summer break for this year. So this is our little journal that we're going to be making. The materials that you need are a sheet of cardstock, which is 8.5 by 11. You need a bunch of sheets of white regular printer paper, all 8.5 by 11. And you can have as many as you want because that will depend on how many pages you have inside your book. You're going to need a piece of ribbon that's about 12 inches long, give or take. You don't have to worry about it being exact. And you're going to notice that the edges of the ribbon have been cut at an angle. That's just to help prevent it from fraying and falling apart. You're also going to need either a paper cutter, or you're going to need a pencil, scissors, and a ruler so you can do your measuring. And then you may want some stickers and pens. I've got lots of great colored pens and markers here that I like to use when I'm creating. So let's get started. We are going to start by taking our 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and we will measure right in the middle of the long side of the paper. So this is 11 inches long, so we're going to find the mark at about 5.5 inches. If we do it on one side and on the bottom side with a pencil and a ruler, we can mark it and then draw a line all the way down the middle to make sure that we're in the right spot. But I have a nice big fancy paper cutter, so I can pull out and measure myself and cut at the same time. So I'm going to cut my paper. I've measured it to 5.5 inches. So I'm going to show you right there. You can see it's at 5.5 inches. I'm going to place it down, and I'm going to cut it. And now I have my 2 sheets of cardstock. What I'm going to do with these, I'm going to put them down to the side and wait just a few more minutes for that. All right, next I've got my stack of paper. Again, you're going to do it the exact same way as you did it with the cardstock, and you're going to measure the 5.5 inch mark on one side, and on the other side, draw the line and cut it down the center, or use your paper cutter. Now, however many sheets of paper, you may have to do this in a couple of goes. If you have lots of paper and you're trying to make a nice thick book, you might have to do it a couple of times because your scissors won't be able to get through all the sheets of paper, or if you're using a paper cutter, it won't get through all the sheets of paper. But there you go. I've got my sheets of paper and I've cut them in half, and we are almost ready to go. This is a super, super easy project to make, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So now I am taking the paper that I cut, one sheet of cardstock and the other sheet of cardstock, and I'm making a sandwich. So the regular white paper goes in the middle, and I'm tapping it on the desk so that it's a nice even mark. Now what you may want to do is take a ruler and measure 1 inch from the side and 1 inch from the side, and do it about 1/2 inch from the edge of the paper, and you can give yourself a little mark. Okay, so I'm going to get that nice and close so you can see there's a mark on this paper. I don't know where that came from, but it's this mark and this mark. And what I'm going to do now is use those as my markers for cutting the holes in my paper. Now I have a really fancy hole punch. This punches through all big stacks of paper. You may have a smaller one, so you may have to do this a couple of times again, because just like your cutter and your scissors, it can't get through a really thick stack, but this one can. So now I'm going to mark. My papers have gotten misaligned again. So I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to cut, punch a hole. I've got one, and I'm going to punch the other hole. They do not have to be absolutely perfect, but you can see I now have 2 holes in the sides. Pretty cool, huh? Again, they don't have to be absolutely perfect. Now, the next thing I need to decide is is this my front? So here's my front, this is the side. So I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ribbon and from the back, I'm going to poke it all the way through the holes. Here we go, at the top. And then from the back, poke it through all the holes at the bottom. And I want to make sure that on the back, the ribbon is laying nice and flat. And the reason why is if it gets twisted, it gets all bunched and it can mess up the paper a little bit. So I have it nice and flat on the back, and now I'm going to turn it to the front. And all you need to do now is tie it. Maybe you need somebody to help you with this part, because some people have trouble tying if they want a nice pretty knot or a bow. Actually, I'm going to just shift this, make sure my ribbon is about even on each side, and give it a knot tie. And come on, little bow. And you want to pull it nice and tight so the bow stays shut. And there we go. I have a bow on this one. And you'll notice that this one is just tied. It doesn't have a bow. It's just tied tight. Now, you don't have to use pretty ribbon. You could use wool, you can use yarn, you can use string. If you use something like baker's twine, you might want to wrap it around a few times so that it gives it a little bit of extra stability. So now you have your little booklet. It's ready to decorate and color. You can put stickers or write your name on the front of it. You can see on this one, I wrote my story. And now on the inside, what are you going to do on the inside? You can put pictures of your summer break. You could write stories. You could even keep a list of all the books that you've read in the library reading challenge this summer. Wouldn't that be a great way to show your teacher in September all the wonderful books that you read? Maybe you could put a picture of the cover of the book. You can write the title and the author, and then write a paragraph about what the book was about. I know your teacher would be super, super pleased to see that come September when you go back to school. So I hope you've had a good time and enjoyed this. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach me by contacting Miss Smith at the library. And have a wonderful day, boys and girls.